Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another rendition of Tuesday Talk. And this week's topic, we are talking with Colleen Chase Gardner, and we are going to talk about Mom and Dad, we need to talk. It's about navigating the talk with your preteen and your teen. Now, this is a two-part segment. This week, we're addressing the preteens, and then our next Tuesday Talk, which is a month from now, we want you to join us then too. We'll be addressing how to navigate that conversation with your teenagers. Now, this is going to be good. So what I want you to do is I invite you to share this. Go ahead and click on that little share button and share it with your family, friends you're following, because they may need this information as well. So we're going to get started and with Colleen, and we're going to navigate through this very important talk. All right, Colleen. Thank you for doing this talk.
This is my first live talk, so looking forward to it being with you and then being with you again in March. Today's talk, though, is really going to be more about how to get the puberty talk going with your 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old son or daughter. Everybody wonders how soon it should start. But tell me a little bit, how have I gotten this to be such a passion in my heart? It started probably 26 years ago when I had my first daughter. And over the years of being a nurse practitioner, which is probably 28 years I've been a nurse practitioner now in women's health, I used to always address my teenage patients who were sexually active and ask them, why? I just always would want to do a census and figure out what is driving this early sexual activity for these teenagers. And quite often, there was really no reason except curiosity. And that they thought that because their bodies were telling them that they wanted to, that they should. And what I also realized was that many of these girls never got the talk from their mothers. And I really wanted to make a difference, and I wanted to be different with my 2 girls, because I ended up having 2 daughters, and try to make a difference of what could delay the sexual activity in these teenagers. So puberty talks, I think, was one of them. You know, my mom, she gave me the kit, the Kotex kit, when I was probably 12, and said, here, it's this, this, and this, and if you have any questions, ask. But I always felt, really, don't ask, because she was afraid and nervous and scared that I might know things. So moms and dads, what are we afraid of in having our children know what the truth is about their bodies changing? Are we afraid that if they know what sex is, that they've lost the mystery? To be honest with you, most statistics say that you should start talking to your girls, especially at age 8. Some girls are starting to have physical changes happening at 9 and even getting their periods at 9. So let's take it back to, how do we get the talk going and what age? Again, 8, 9, and 10 should be when we start navigating that talk. It is okay to tell them what sex is. Why are we afraid of knowing what a gift that God has given us? Why are we afraid of letting them know what that is? But again, let's take that back. Let's start talking to them about the changes that could start happening with their bodies. Because it's all normal, it's all natural. And it's something, if we talk about it, then they're not going to feel that they need to go anywhere else to have the conversations. Because they're going to be hearing it on the bus, they're going to be hearing it on the playground. They might hear it from their older siblings or cousins, but they might be hearing the wrong information. So are you ready to start talking to your 8, 9, or 10-year-old son or daughter about the physical changes they're ready to have? And I think that's where you start, the physical changes.
Yeah, you know, that is very important, because when I grew up, my mother tried to talk to me. I was like 15, 16, I already knew, because my older sister told me. So I had an older sister to go to where she got her information. I have no idea, but it was always the saying that goes, if you don't teach your children yourselves, they're going to learn it in the streets. So you want them to get the correct information instead of just anything.
And anyway, we're only talking about the changes that are going on in your body. For girls getting breasts and taking them for their first bra shopping, that's always a big deal. But when you start addressing these things at 8 and 9, they haven't learned to become embarrassed yet, totally. But when they're 11, 12, and entering middle school, they know things now, but they all think it might be bad, dirty, wrong, because they've heard so many different things. And if it hasn't come from mom and dad yet, they're afraid and they think it's taboo, and they probably can't talk to mom and dad about it. So therefore, they don't raise the questions unless we bring it up. And again, if you start at 8, they're still a little naive. I have many parents say, but how can I tell my 8 or 9-year-old they still believe in Santa Claus?
Right.
So tell me, why does believing in Santa Claus still mean you can't talk to them about puberty and the changes and how they were created, how they were made? Again, why has sex become a bad word? It's not if you bring it into the right context of natural, normal, expected behavior as adults and in hopefully a married relationship, but we know that doesn't always happen. And I'm not going to be preaching on that subject, but it's more about, again, we have to deal with our own insecurities of it all and what we've been taught.
That is
true.
So
you start with the basics. Go on, Google a great anatomy chart so you can have your props for you on how to talk about the body parts. There's a great book, of course, for girls, The Care and Keeping of You by American Girl is a great book to start. There's also a book out there called The Period Book. That's for girls. There's another set of books for boys and girls called What's Happening to My Body for boys, What's Happening to My Body for girls. There's some great websites too. One is called Girlology, Girlology, and if you just Google Girlology, you'll get to some great information there on how to navigate the talk. Also, SEICUS, SEICUS.org is a great site, and also Advocates for Youth is another great site that will give you plenty of information for your preteen or for your teenager alike, so that you get the materials that you want to make you feel comfortable in talking to your child about an uncomfortable subject. But hopefully it doesn't need to be uncomfortable. I've done puberty talks for over 20 years for churches, for Girl Scout troops. I've done them for boys and their dads as well. And they've always been a big hit. And I go into people's homes so it's comfortable. Again, they have, I think have really helped mothers navigate that talk and feel comfortable so that they're continuing the conversations with their daughters afterwards. Like, I'll tell the girls after a puberty talk, on your way home then, you need to ask your mom, how old was she when she got her first period, and what was it like? And if they have grandmothers, what it was like for them. So again, it's getting that talk, because if you start talking about their bodies and you say how babies are made, during this period of puberty, you're also talking to them about responsibility for the care of themselves, from hygiene, brushing their teeth, washing their hair, washing their face at night. Why is none of this really talked about? If you want, eventually they're going to want the keys to the car to drive. So here we start now at 8, 9, and 10, teaching them responsibility. And they earn responsibility as they continue to age by showing, I've owned the right to wash my face and brush my teeth without you nagging at me. And if they're achieving that, then they're earning responsibility for benefits of that they can be trusted down the road. Those are simple tasks right now that make them feel good about themselves. You're building up their esteem in ways of just not giving them a trophy. You are having them earn that respect and that trust by they can, again, without being nagged, just, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
They're going to earn that right.
Right.
From simple things, even if it's called making their bed, if that's what you want them to do. Those are all those things. Besides physical changes, it's the emotional changes that you're hitting in puberty.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, can you set the stage for us? Like, so I'm a parent with an 8, 9, or 10-year-old. I haven't had the talk, you know. Can you set the stage for us to what this could look like in the home? For example, in your home, where is the best place where you will feel more comfortable? Like, where do you have this talk?
Most
do you
parents,
take them to Red Robin?
Most parents feel more comfortable talking in the car because then you don't have to FaceTime. Or sometimes in bed at night with the lights off, so that you're not having to see each other. But if you're having materials to show them, you know, it's at the dinner table even. You know, a lot of things get discussed at the dinner table if you have family dinners, and so why not? I mean, I think my girls used to hear all my talks about different things at the office, so they started hearing about the GYN stuff, of course, when they were 8. They both got the talk at 8, and then they got it again at 10, and they got it again at 12. So they came to my talks, and the conversations then have continued on through their life. So now at 23 and 26, they really have no problem coming to talk to me. They even send their friends my way. You know, you can send your daughters to me at any point for any help. You can call up the office, and you know, I'm hoping Providence will do a puberty talk for mothers and daughters sometime down the road here.
That would be fantastic.
But otherwise, I do them privately. But to set the table is be comfortable, have your stuff with you, have a book that if you're going to give to them, and just say, you know, it's time to talk about the changes happening with your body. Even if they've started happening, or if they haven't, they will. Remember, moms, for girls, one of the first changes in the puberty talk is, for the puberty time period, is getting breast buds. And typically when you first notice breast buds in your daughter, about 2 years later is when they can expect their period. So it's called How Can You Be Prepared for That?
I didn't know that.
For boys, you're going to start noticing, again, hair growth and their voice starting to change and crack. And it's time for you or dad to start having the conversation with the boys. And again, it's teaching them respect for themselves and respect for each other. So start with the physical changes. Girls getting breasts, having hair. Boys, voice changing, having hair, having the wet dreams issues that can happen. That's a very embarrassing and scary moment for boys too. That really needs to be talked about so that they realize they didn't wet their bed. So again, on both sides of the coin, there's those uncomfortable issues that need to get discussed. With that, you're talking about, again, hygiene. You're talking about nutrition, that it's time to really, you know, put into your body what counts and what matters. It's not just about chicken nuggets and macaroni and cheese. You know, where are we getting our vegetables from, and having good sources of protein. And again, making sure that they're getting dairy in their diet for their bone health. This is an important time for boys and girls, especially that they're getting their bone mass laid, because their bone health stops, their bone mass stops growing at about 24. So now is the time that it's important to be treating that bones well, and exercising, having good cardiac activity as well as some weight stuff to give them strength, being active in a sport if needed, swimming, tennis, whatever that may be. It doesn't have to be extreme, just as they're physically active and not being on their iPads and phones all the time.
Yeah. How does activity affect the period?
Well, you know, for girls who are really, really extreme, and are Olympic athletes, sometimes they can have a delay in getting their periods because they don't have enough estrogen hormones in their system to get it started. And you might find I've had patients who are cheerleaders and again are on the extreme ends of those sports, and soccer players who, again, they have such a lean body mass that they may be delayed and older when they get their periods. The average age for periods is about 11, 12 still, but you have those occurring as young as 11 and as late as 16. Okay. Again, we need to have a certain body mass of a little fat around us too, because that's what Mother Nature wants. Because once we get our period, we're supposed to be able to reproduce.
Yes.
And so, again, that's one of those things of, you know, there's always a bigger plan.
Yeah.
And how we're created.
Those are good things to think about.
Yeah, it is. So, again, we don't want our patients too skinny. We don't want our patients too chubby, but we want them like healthy, and to be able to be there to support them as they're going through their development. What else was I going to say about that? So with then hygiene, with nutrition, then we also have friendships. And what do we want to be known as when we grow up? Who do we want to be? You know, not just the firemen and the policemen, but how do we want others to know us? And again, do we need to point out to others who are growing up with us their differences, whether it be their skin color, their hair, whether they are starting to have acne, whether they're shorter than us, taller than us, fluffier than us? You know, do we need to like point those out? Can we not accept each other and appreciate each other for the differences that we have? You know, other words, it's also called bullying. Do we need to bully? That's where we want to empower our daughters and our sons to feel good about themselves and that they're unique. There's no one out there like them, and no one is supposed to be the same. And that, you know, with that uniqueness, you know, it just is a special gift that we have and to be appreciated. So again, the bullying, if we're talking to our daughters and sons about the beauty that we have and empowering them, then I think the bullying can stop also, and that we all struggle through this stage of puberty. We are awkward. We are navigating who we are. So with all of that being said, you know, it's called have the talk. Start now. It's never too early, and yes, they can still believe in Santa Claus. So moms and dads, don't freak out though too, and if they ask you other questions, be ready, because you want them to come and ask you. You don't want them to hear it on the school bus without you addressing it. Again, we are a beautiful creation. We have a lot to offer. We, as parents, we've been there. And so guide your children to become the better self that they are, and helping others, in serving, and being responsible for their own self, for caring for themselves. Again, that's part of growing up.
Yes, absolutely.
Because when they want the keys for the car, they need to be responsible.
Right, absolutely. These are really, really awesome nuggets to chew on. Like, I'm sitting here learning a lot. And I have 2 teens and an 8-year-old. So
when I've done the group talks, we do it with the girls, and the moms are there too, or the boys and the dads are there, and we do the anatomy lesson first, and then we go into getting your period. I also have a video DVD now that I use called The Rules. No, sorry, that's the other one. I am all of a sudden having a blank of what it's called. But it was from 321 Contact, what every kid wants to know about sex and growing up. And it is an awesome video. It took place in the early 90s. I got it off of GPTV. I taped it that way, videoed it that way first. Then I ended up buying the video. Then, of course, had to go back and buy the DVD. And again, it's old. The hairstyles are different and whatnot, but the information doesn't ever change.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that is still the video that I use when I'm doing my programs, because it goes into what goes on with boys during puberty, what goes on with girls during puberty, and what sex is, how babies are made. And it's done so well. There's some great humor in it. So we have that, and then we come back and talk about getting your period. And they're not afraid. And then they get a sample of a pad and a tampon, and get to touch it and get to feel it, and be comfortable with that. And so, you know, all of that, it gives them a forum where then those girls who are together, or those boys that are together, have a bond that they've shared this information, and that they know, though, that they're not supposed to be educators of everybody else now in their school, because that's up for other moms and dads to do. And the same for boys. The video is very good for them. That way, the girls and the boys get to appreciate what goes on with the girls and with the boys during puberty, so they understand. And it kind of goes down the line of, if this is happening to boys and this is happening to me, it goes down that line of, oh, so then this is what sex is, and this is how babies are made. Now it all makes sense.
Right. Absolutely.
So it completes the package. So I hope you've gotten to benefit from some of the suggestions. Please know to come and visit us anytime at Providence Women's Healthcare. There's myself, and we have several other midwives in the practice who are also devoted to taking care of the teenage patient and helping navigate. Remember this, and this will happen next month when we talk more about the high schoolers and navigating that, talk about dating and relationships.
Absolutely. Now we're going to open up for questions, but
Okay.
I have one more question.
Okay.
Well, actually two.
Mm-hmm.
Where, for the conversation with the girls, where is the dad usually? And how can we incorporate him into the conversation if that is necessary for a family?
I think it would be lovely to have the dads involved, though, too, because then the girls know it's very comfortable. Like, my husband didn't come to the talk, but he knew the girls had the talk, and so the girls and he had some banter about it afterwards. And this is what I always say then, that when the girls get their first period, dads need to take their daughters out for dinner. So that they have time to celebrate getting their period and that their little girl has grown up.
I like that.
So dads can become a part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, they can take them shopping for, there's a lot of dads who are single dads.
Yes.
And
that was my next question.
need to then take them girl shopping,
Yes.
for pads and tampons and for the bra and clothes. But dads, you know what? You have a huge part in your daughters' lives.
Absolutely.
Just like mothers have a huge part in their sons' lives of making them chivalrous and knowing how to treat a woman. It goes both ways.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to open up for questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments section. And if there is a question that you have that you're not comfortable asking in this open forum, this forum is for you. So anything that you need to ask, if you're not comfortable, send a private message, and either Colleen or one of the other nurses or midwives can answer the question for you. So we'll open up for questions. Do you have a good book? Oh, we did that one. Oh, for boys.
For boys, it would be What's Happening to My Body for Boys. That's been around for a while. And then there's What's Happening to My Body for Girls. So that's one of the main ones I have for boys, Nuria, besides the websites that I mentioned as well, Youth Advocates for Youth, SECUS, and of course the Girlology. I'm not sure if there's a boyology out there. That would be a wonderful thing to start. And the video, again, is it's from 321 Contact. It's what every kid wants to know about sex and growing up.
And we'll do a Facebook post with these awesome suggestions. So if you come back to the Facebook page, if you have not liked Providence Facebook page, go ahead and like us so that we can get this information to you and continue to feed your feed with awesome information. So let's see, are there any more questions?
I don't think so, but thanks Natalie and Nuria and Amanda and Sharon for being on here. Appreciate the support, and Amanda Sims as well. Thank you, girls, and appreciate your feedback. And I will look forward to part 2 at the end of March. That'll be fun to help navigate that next part of the talk.
Yes, I'm prepared for this part of the talk. So come back and join us in February.
I think it's February
20th, I believe.
Yep. It's a Tuesday.
So
again.
So go ahead and look for the event page, and about a week or so, the event page will be up for that Tuesday talk. And we thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
And start the conversation now.
Start the conversation. These were some good tips, y'all. So you don't have an excuse at this point. Go start that conversation.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.